敬的各位领导、嘉宾、老师和同学们、媒体朋友们，大家
下午好。
Teachers, friends, and friends from the media, good afternoon.
这里是由中央广播电视总台、教育部联合举办的中小学语文示范诵读库作品发布会。
of audio Chinese textbooks for primary and middle school students, jointly organized by China Central Broadcast and TV Station and Ministry of Education. My name is Li Zimeng. My name is Zhong Qiu.
Ceremony of the Chinese Textbooks Reading Library for elementary school students, held by China Media Group and the Ministry of Education.
其实说到语文，我相信在座的各位和我们一样。
Talking about Chinese language,
我想先问一下两位，提到语文，
we all have very sober memories. I want to ask you, what impressed you the most when you studied the Chinese language back in the primary school? What impressed me the most is the reading sound of the class. And we also learned traditional Chinese languages such as the Yue Yang Lou, and we recited a lot of very classic Chinese verses. How about you, Zhong Qiu? I always wanted to become a good student, and I tried to find a lot of good inspirations from textbooks. And there are the poets, for example. Chinese textbooks told us that if you have a broad mind, you can tolerate anything, and everybody has the ambition to contribute to the society. Yes, and today we are going to present you an audio library of Chinese textbooks, and they are going to represent what is classic in Chinese language. And this is already our joint aspiration. And the press release of the audio Chinese textbook library will be broadcast on CCTV, on its website, and also on its mobile application. And today we have attracted famous anchormen and also famous hosts in China. We believe the release of the audio library of Chinese textbooks will be of great significance for the students. Now let me introduce you the distinguished guests with us. Mr. Chen Baosheng,
Minister of Education.
Minister of Education.
中宣部副部长、中央广播电视总台台长盛海雄。
Mr. Shen Haixiong,
the Publicity Department of CPC Central Committee and President of China Media Group.
另外还有教育部副部长、国家语委主任。
and we also have Vice Education Minister Mr. Du Zhanyuan.
National Language Committee.
同时，我们还邀请到国家广电总局宣传。
In the meantime, we have
教育部语言
invited
应用管理司、语言文字信息管理司、教材局、北京市教委
from China Central Broadcast TV Station and colleagues from its Publicity Bureau. And we also have relevant government officials from CCTV and China Radio International.
To the special guests from the State Administration of Radio and Television, the Ministry of Education, Beijing Municipal Education Commission, People's Education Press, China Media Group, and authoritative experts in Chinese language education.
另外呢，在今天现场还有很多媒体界的朋友，以及来自北京。
We also have a lot of friends from the media, and we have representatives from Yuming University, Yuming Primary School, and also the affiliated school of Beijing Normal University. And let's give them all a big round of applause.
All the media outlets and the students from the elementary schools for your wide attention.
亲爱的朋友们，今天我们相聚在
Dear friends, today we are gathered at the beautiful season of early summer, and we are gathered at a new era where constantly new generations take the spotlight, and we're going to witness the grand release of the audio Chinese textbook library. And now let's get into it. A broad moonlight in front of my bed resembles the frost on the ground. I raised up my head towards the moon, and I lowered my head and became nostalgic. And this is the reading of a famous poem from Li Bai, which is a very famous poet in China's Tang Dynasty. And this is a poem expressing the nostalgic feeling of the poet.
2018年的春天，这里格外忙碌。
In the spring of 2018, at this important place, we have attracted a great number of gifted readers of the Chinese language. All the textbooks that we have learned, they will be transformed into audio textbooks. And this audio library will allow us to listen to what we have studied as a child. President Xi Jinping attaches great importance to the cultivation of children. He said we need to cultivate the socialist mindset of our children. And China Central Broadcast and TV station has gathered all the resources and worked together with the Ministry of Education and jointly introduced the Audio Chinese Textbook Library for primary and middle school students. 70 gifted recorders and anchormen worked together for the first batch of audio Chinese books. And 9.5 million Chinese primary school students will be benefited from this library. Pine tree is very extraordinary. This is a sample from the sound of the library. When you are driving on a vast grassland, and what comes to your mind is the green leaves of the trees on both sides. And what's green shows the achievement that humankind has made in conquering the mother nature. And the green is also the field land. And this is the grand work. Each and every sound and syllable has been constantly and repeatedly confirmed. Each reader has put their mood in it and emotion in their sound. And this will be very conducive to students learning Chinese and learning Chinese Mandarin. All the anchormen are devoted to this work with their professionalism and expertise. 3 generations of anchormen fully engaged in this job, and some pregnant anchormen even attended this grand work. And this will be an unprecedented achievement in the teaching of Chinese language. CCTV worked together with Ministry of Education and invited a great number of Chinese language experts. They have double-checked each and every word in every article in the Chinese textbooks. In our daily class, sometimes there is this issue of standardization. So this will be very helpful. And reading is a very important part of learning, and this demo library will help us to improve ourselves and also improve the students. This is the best Chinese language textbook. President Xi Jinping has pointed out that the children, they are the hope of our future, and they are the future of this nation. Carrying forward what is the fine culture of the Chinese civilization is a very important job, but we have tremendous hope from our young generation. from cities to the innerland and from the coastal area to China's countryside. Every student, they will benefit from the most standard tune and pronunciation of the Chinese language. I think this will become a classic. It has the following features. Number one, it is made by the most authoritative experts. Secondly, it is read by the best professionals. And the third is that we were following the highest standard and the most strict procedures in reviewing this library. Well, this will help put the Chinese sound into their mind and heads. So we have a systematic standard project, and this project will help the Chinese students to appreciate what is the best Chinese language. We hope that this audio Chinese textbook library will help generate great number of talents by cultivating the best the children has to offer, and this will plant the seed of Chinese culture into the minds of the new generation of children. Well, listen to the most enchanting Chinese language. Here we go. Well, through this video clip, I hope that you have all been quite looking forward to this most enchanting Chinese language library. As a demo project, this Chinese language textbook library is jointly made by China Central Broadcast and TV Station and the Ministry of Education. And this is a grand cultural offering to the Chinese younger generation. As we have mentioned in the clip, that all those audio library material is read by professional anchorman from China, and also the expert committee is set up to review the sound and pronunciation of each and every line and word.
And all read and demonstrated by famous hosts, presenters, and anchors from China Media Group. And you know, the rest is expected to come up very soon.
And now we will jointly witness the launch ceremony and release of the audio Chinese textbook library for primary and middle school students. Let's welcome Mr. Chen Baosheng from Ministry of Education and Mr. Shen Haixiong, President of China Central Broadcast and TV Station.
Minister of Education and Mr. Shen Haixiong, President of China Media Group, for the official launch. Please.
Now, right in front of us, there is the very beautiful crystal ball, and you just need to put your hands on a ball, and the audiobook library will be officially put online. Are you ready? On a countdown of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, launch. And now you can download the audio material from the website of China Central Broadcast and TV Station, Ministry of Education. The launch of the crystal ball officially signals that the first batch of audio Chinese textbook library will be officially put online. Ladies and gentlemen, dear students, let's give another big round of applause to this official launch. Thank you. We all know that the very early cultural enlightenment comes from our study of the Chinese language, from Confucius, from Mencius. We got to know the wisdom of our ancestors, and we also learn the wisdom and beauty of Chinese from famous verses written by Wang Bo, and also from the writings of Fang Zhimian. We appreciate the patriotism demonstrated by these heroes. And here, at this occasion, we have invited Mr. Fang Ming, Xiao Yu, Kang Hui, Li Yaniu, and Lei Peng, who are typical representatives of 3 generations of the finest anchormen, and for them to give us a demo. This is a reading of the patterns of traditional Chinese verses. It tells what Chinese phrases and words go parallel with some synonyms in writing Chinese verses. The Intellect of Confucius, written by Mr. Fu Chengli. Confucius says, It's a delight to constantly review what you have learned. Isn't it a delight to have friends come from afar? Isn't it a gentleman when he's not unhappy, even unknown to others? Confucius says that if you always study and don't review, you will eventually collapse your learning. Confucius also says that those who know the knowledge are in no way comparable to those who practice knowledge. Confucius also says that among 3 friends, there is definitely going to be one who can be my teacher. I can select the best one as my example, and I can pick out the worst one and correct the shortcomings that is also found on me. Confucius says that time is just like a water and it goes without stopping. Time goes by just like time, and it never wastes one day or night. Well, this is another Chinese verse recognizing the beauty and spiritual virtue of lotus. Lotus is a natural plant coming out from the pond, and Tao Yuanming, who is from Jin Dynasty, he likes in particular chrysanthemums, but I like peony, and I like in particular the lotus, which comes out from the mud, but they maintain very clean. They are very straight, and they send out a clear fragrance, and they remain very straight on the palm. You can only appreciate the beauty of lotus from a distance. I'm of the view that chrysanthemum is representing the most beautiful of flowers, but peony is the gentleman of all the flowers. But the favor of a lotus is the most highest appreciation of natural beauty. This is another verse from Cao Cao. It's entitled Looking Towards the Ocean.
东临碣石
I come to a place called 碣石 and look beyond the vast ocean. The water comes in waves and the forests on the beach are very lush.
秋风萧瑟
I'm welcomed by a very sleek autumn breeze.
日月之行
And in front of me
若出其
are
中
waves and
星
waves
汉
of
灿
ocean
烂
water.
若出其
The moon and
里
stars comes in and out of it.
幸甚至在
And the
歌
sun goes
以
in and out
咏
with this pace.
志
It's such a delightful moment that I write this verse to express my ambition. Well, this is another verse from the famous female poet Li Qingzhao. The title is Like in a Dream.
常记
I always remember
日
at the
暮
dawn and in a pavilion on the
沉
west.
醉不知归
I
路，
was so indulged in
兴
the
尽晚回舟，
beautiful
误
nature
入
that I forgot the
藕
way
花
back,
深
and I
处，
accidentally
争
ran
渡
into the deep
争渡
of Lotus
惊起一
Pond.
滩，
I tried to paddle back, and I tried and I tried, and I generated a wave of ripples. This is
危楼
Chinese
高
poem.
百尺，手可摘星
The
辰。
tower is so high
不
that
可
on
高
the
声
tower
语
you can raise your
恐
hand
惊
for the stars.
天上人
Please don't talk loud, because you
不
may
可高声
disrupt
语
those living in
恐
heaven.
惊
Please don't
天
speak
上人
loud, because you may disrupt the beings living in heaven. The students are chanting a poem about the moon, and the moon is as curved as a lovely boat. And I'm sitting on one edge of the boat, and all I can see is the blue sky and
远
the
远
scattered
的街灯
stars.
明了，好像
From a
闪
far
着
distance, you can see
无
that
数的
the
明
streets are
星。
turned on, and it's just like countless of
天上的
stars
明
suddenly
星
shining.
现了，好像是
The
点着
stars in the sky
无数的
unveiled
街
themselves,
灯，
and it's just like the
我想
lighting
那
up of
缥缈
countless
的空
street
中
lights.
定
I
然有
think in
美
the
丽
vast
的街市，
distance,
街
there
市上陈列的
definitely
一些物
is a
品，
beautiful
定
street,
然
and on the
是
street
世上
there
没
is
有的。
a rich
珍惜。
display of commodities, and those commodities
你看，
will definitely be the valuable things that you cannot find in this earth. You can say that the yellow Milky Way is so shallow, and I believe that Niu Lang will be able to finally cross the Milky Way and meet his beloved goal. I believe that at this moment, they are taking a walk in the sky, and if you doubt it, you can take a look at that asteroid. Well, it is the lantern that they are holding while walking. Golden flower.
假如我变成了一枝金色花，
If I'm turned into a golden flower, and just for the pleasure of fun, I can grow myself on a branch. I can swing in air. And if so, will my mother recognize me?
你在哪里呀？
And if you are shouting, "Boy, where are you?"
在那里逆笑，却一声不响。
And I can laugh there on myself without making any sound. When after shower, when your hair is still wet, and when you take a cup of coffee and sit yourself in a pavilion, you can smell the fragrance of the flower, but you never know the fragrance actually comes from me. When you finish your lunch and take a book and sit down by the window, and when a bunch of flower finally drops on your shoulder, I will give you the shadow of my leaf right on the page of book that you are reading. But can you guess that this is the shadow of your little boy? When I'm done, you take a light to the lawn, and then I will drop myself on the lawn, and I turn back to be your child, and I beg you to tell a story of me, and you must make the complaint that where have you been? And I can tell you, I won't tell you, Mom. And this is our lovely conversation at that moment. It has been more than 2 years since I last met my father. What's most unforgettable is how his back looked like. I remember one winter when I had to go back to Beijing to study. My father was very busy. He originally said that he won't send me off, but he couldn't let myself go, and after a moment of hesitation, he decided he had to send me off. We crossed the river. We arrived at the station. I was busy purchasing the tickets, and he just stood there taking care of all the luggage. Because we had too much luggage that we have to tip the staff at the station. And then he started bugging with the staff. I was too clever at the time, and I always thought that my father wasn't very polite, and I would always put a word in their bargaining. But finally, my father got a very bargain, and he sent me on the train. My father chose a seat by the window, and I put on the very thick coat that my father waved for me. My father said, "Take care of yourself on the road and stay alert during the night and do not get a cold. And take care of yourself." And I laughed at his stupidity in the bottom of my heart, because my father is only asking for help of strangers, but those strangers, they only know about money. I'm such a grown-up, and I can't take care of myself. And now, looking back, I was too clever at the time. A little bit way too clever. I told my father, "Dad, you can go." My father said, "You stay here. Don't go around. I will buy some oranges and come back to you." My father had to cross the railway to reach the platform on the other side, and he has to jump down the platform and climb up the platform. My father was a little bit obese, and it takes him some strength to cover that distance. My father was wearing a black hat, he was wearing very thick coats, and he kind of walked in a very crippled manner, and he climbed the fence down and up to reach the other side of the platform. And it wasn't easy. He put his two hands on top of the platform, and he flinged his two legs, and his body leaned to the left, and he was so struggling. And then I saw the back of my father. I couldn't help but crying. I wiped my tears because I was afraid being seen by my father or others. When my father came back, I quickly went up to him to help him. He walked me together, and we got on board, and he put all those oranges in my pocket. He patted all the dirt on his coat, and he plainly said that, "I'll just go now. Remember to write to me." When his back disappeared in a crowd, and when he became invisible, I sat down, and my tears came out again. After arriving in Beijing, I received a letter from my father. My father said in the letter, "I'm healthy, except I had a shoulder ache. Life has become a little bit inconvenient for me, and I feel that I'm very close to the point of dying." While reading at this part, I had in my head the shadow of my father, which I would never forget. And I couldn't know when I could meet my father again. The next is a children's song entitled Home.
树林
The blue
是小
sky
鸟
is the
的家，
home of white
小河
cloud,
是鱼儿
and
的
the
家，
forest is the home of birds,
泥
and
土
the
是种子
river
的家，
the home of fish, and the soil the home of seeds. And we are the flowers of the mother country, and our motherland is the home of all of us.
我是你河边上破旧的老水车，数百年
I'm
来
an old boat by your riverside. For hundreds of years, I have been
熏黑
singing
的矿
a
灯，
song
照
of
你在历
exhaustion.
史的隧洞里。
I am the lamp
我
on
行
your safety
摸
hat,
索，
and I give you light on your
干瘪的
way
稻
of
穗，
exploration.
是失修的路基，
I'm a
是渔
flat
滩上的
right
驳
side,
船，把纤绳深深勒进
and I
你
am
的肩膀。
the man who is
祖
on the
国啊，
riverside, pulling the boats forward.
我是贫
My
困，
motherland,
我是悲
I
哀，
am poverty.
我是你祖
I am
祖辈辈
sorrow
痛苦的希望啊！是飞
And I
天
am
袖
the
间
hope that you carry
百年来
for
未落到
generations.
地面的花朵。祖
And I am a
国，
flower that will
我是
eventually
你
fall on
簇
the
新的
ground
理想，
even after
刚
hundreds
从
of years.
神
My
话的
motherland,
蛛网里
I
挣
am
脱。
我
the
是你
ideal
雪被下的
from
莲的
your
模
little
样，
paradise.
我是你挂着眼泪的笑窝。我是新
And
刷出
I
的
am
雪
the
白的
smell
起跑
that
线，是
you
绯红
gave
的
with
黎
the
明
tear.
正在喷
And
薄。
I am a runner at the starting line, and we are fighting right now,
是你
motherland.
960万
My
平方的
dear
总和。
other motherland,
以
we're
伤
just
痕累
one
累的乳
out
房
of
喂养了
1
迷惘的
billion
我，
of
深思的
yours.
我，沸腾
Your
的
breast
我。
fed
那
me,
就从我的血
and
肉
you
之
grow
躯
me
上
up,
去取得
and
你
then
的富饶。
你的荣光，
you
你
can
的
take a
自
break
由。
from me and make you richer, and
我亲爱的，
we will contribute to your glory and to your pride, my dearest motherland.
感谢我们优秀的播音员、主持人的倾情演绎。
Thank
谢谢
you
你
very
们
much, our excellent anchormen, for your wonderful demonstration. And it seems that you have pulled us back to the primary school class. And if you don't think you have enjoyed it enough, then let me give you a good piece of news. And that is starting from now, the library has all the audiobook material which supports download from the website of China Language and Chinese Characters, and you can also download this from the WeChat public account from Central Television Station and Ministry of Education. As President Xi Jinping has said, each and every one of us grew up from a child. To rejuvenate a nation, we have to rely on ourselves as well as the younger generation. And the Audio Chinese Textbook Library is a solid step that we have taken to implement the guiding spirits of President Xi Jinping and let us all enjoy equal access to the education resources. And the audio library is a miniature of the fine classics of Chinese civilization for 5,000 years. It carries the principle of carrying down the good classics and rejuvenate a nation.
Yes, we hope that the Chinese textbooks reading library could offer our children
We hope the
better
Chinese
horizon
book
in
reading
learning
library
standard
could
Chinese
offer our
and in learning our
Chinese
rich
students
history
a better
and
way
participating in the
to
great
learn
rejuvenation
our
of the
Chinese
Chinese
history
nation.
and provide a momentum for the rejuvenation of the Chinese nation.
，Distinguished
Distinguished guests, this is the end of today's release. Thank you for coming. Thank you very much.
谢谢。
Thank you to all the anchormen and the TV hosts.
也请同学们上来。